Hello, everybody. My name is Devin Marks, SWAG member, also Public Relations Subcommittee member, and I have with me also.
Hi, my name is Taylor, also SWAG member and also a part of our public relations subcommittee.
Yes. So we are here today. I am so excited for us to have someone from an amazing organization called Revved Up Kids that really focuses on internet safety for our youth, and educating our youth, educating their parents, teachers, and doing a lot of community work and outreach. And when it comes to protecting our children, when it comes to the internet safety and being mindful of their internet. So we have Alli Neal with Revved Up Kids. She is the co-founder and executive director with Revved Up Kids. How are you today this evening, Alli?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you and we appreciate all the work that you do to educate our youth and our parents and staff and families, everything about how to protect our kids. So
yes,
thank you for being here.
yes. And as we know, social media and the internet over the past 20 years or so, has been an ever-growing thing. So tell me what kind of started Revved Up Kids for you? How did you found it? Just tell me about its inception?
So, short answer is God, and I don't know how that sits with some people, but my experience is, I am a believer in God, and I had what I can only describe as a revelation dream and call to take action to protect children from sexual abuse. And it was undeniable. And I had to follow that call. And so I actually named the organization Revved Up Kids to honor that revelation. A lot of times people are like, Revved Up Kids, where did that come from? So that's why. And it's been a many year, almost 15 years
Okay.
that since that moment in time. And we've just been on this faith journey ever since then, and it's been amazing.
Got you. So, what is the general foundation of what Revved Up Kids is supposed to, tackle, or just its entire scope of what Revved Up Kids? Can you give us a little bit of a more insight on what
Right,
you guys
absolutely.
kind of do?
So when we opened our doors, it was summer of 2010, and we had one training program. Our goal was to equip children, elementary school age children, to be able to recognize predators in their midst and recognize if they were being groomed, and then just equip them with some action steps and some skills that would help them be able to get out of that situation. So that class was for children and their parents. And then over the years, we have evolved and evolved. We are still solely focused on preventing sexual abuse and exploitation and trafficking, but we have a spectrum of different programs we're addressing now, real and online life, the dangers in both of those lives for kids. We
Mhm.
have trainings for parents. Parents are obviously the first line of defense when it comes to protecting children. We have trainings for youth serving staff and volunteers, because that's another line of defense. And then we also train teens as well, and young women now, college age young women. So we've got a lot going on.
You do. And I saw that as of September of this year, you guys equipped over 46,000
Yep.
students.
We're right
Which
up
is
against 50 now. We're getting really close to
absolutely,
50. I don't think we'll get there before December, but we're really close. So
that is
very exciting.
absolutely outstanding. Can you
Yeah.
go into a little bit more about how you guys equipped individuals as far as the trainings? Like, what do those trainings look like, especially for the children?
Absolutely. So they look different depending on the age of the audience, obviously. The goal with adults is help you be better protectors. What are the things that you need to have on your radar? How do you recognize predators that are operating in and around you? And how do you be brave? And, and how do you make this a comfortable dialogue within a family, within an organization? that it's just natural for kids to be thinking about personal safety in all of their interactions. For the littles, we're talking to them about unsafe people. We're not using the word predator. We're never using the word sex or sexual abuse. So we just talk to them about unsafe people who do bad things to them. One of the things we have to overcome is this idea of stranger danger that was mainstream in this field for decades of time. And now we all know that more than 90% of the time a victim knows their abuser. So that's why we have reframed the language to say unsafe people. And guess what? An unsafe person might be somebody who you know, someone who you see all the time, even someone you care about
Mhm.
might try to do bad things to you. So when we're
Mhm.
talking to the littles, it sounds like that. We are deep down and we are talking to them about the lies and the manipulations that sexual predators use to silence and scare their victims. And we have nuanced that training for the littles over so many years of time that it's phenomenal. It's a subject that seems really scary, and a lot of adults are really afraid. And how do I talk to kids about this?
Yeah.
And how do I not scare the kids? And we're great at it. We're great at talking to kids about it and not scaring the kids. So,
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've seen you in action when it comes to communicating with parents. That was a lot of my, inspiration or motivation to reach out to you because I'm like, okay, this is my third year as a school social worker in Cobb County. I have one middle school and three elementary school, and
mhm,
I am seeing since my first year, I'm seeing all of this stuff with these kids of group chats and taking pictures of themselves and their private
mhm,
parts and sending it to one person, and then the next day it's sent to the whole grade level or it's sent to the whole
yep,
school. And it's like, what is going on? And this is happening month after month after month after month, and it's this big hoopla. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, we got to do something. My admin was like, we got to do something. What can we do?
mhm,
And I was like, I know Revved Up Kids has different programs that they do for parents and teaching students and teachers. Let's get something going.
mhm,
And for my middle school, the first thing we had you do was the social savvy program for our parents. And seeing you communicate to the parents using the explicit language, clear cut language, and seeing the reactions from the parents, like, what? And the examples that you gave from,
mhm.
luring links when you're Googling something so simple and it takes you somewhere else, or
Yep,
things for the kids to look out for, like just the reactions alone. I was like, so many people don't know this and they need to
right,
know it. You know,
right,
what has
right.
been your kind of, reaction to the reaction when you are doing your lessons and trainings for parents and for the kids as well? What has been kind of your reaction to that?
Honestly, it's very affirming for us to hear parents and yours was only a few weeks ago with the parents, and I can specifically remember one parent saying something to the effect of, oh my gosh, I learned more in the last hour and a half than I've learned in the last 5 years about protecting my child online.
Mhm.
And that to me is means that we're having impact. And that's our goal is we have got to get this information to as many parents as possible. And I know you have a fairly wide audience. But we deliver this session on Zoom. And for anybody watching this, groups of 15 or more, we have no fee attached to it. Parents need this information, and we want to do everything we can to reach as many parents as possible with this information. And then with the littles and the teens, we've done program evaluations to know that the training is having an effect. And our goal is, are we changing their understanding of who a sexual predator might be? Are we are we improving their self-protective behaviors, helping them understand that they are allowed to say no, right? Even if somebody is an authority figure, If that person is doing something that's pushing boundaries that are unacceptable, the child has permission to say no. And that's really important to say that to the child. And a lot of times, again, parents aren't comfortable talking about this at all. So that's not something that parents are bringing up, right?
Yeah.
We're helping kids identify who their trusted adults are. And what should they do if they go tell a trusted adult that they've been harmed and the trusted adult doesn't help them?
Hmm.
And that's something that we've heard from victim after victim. I shouldn't say victim, I should say adult survivors,
Hmm.
adult overcomers. We have heard that again and again. I told and they didn't listen. I told and they didn't help me. And I just felt trapped. So
Hmm.
just equipping kids with information. Hey, if this happens, this person might say something really scary and horrible to you, and know that it's a lie. And hey, if this happens and you go tell your trusted adult and they don't help you, here's what you do next, right? Tell another trusted adult, tell another trusted adult, and keep telling until somebody listens to you and helps you be safe.
Hmm.
So we're just trying to fill their little brains with information that if they are ever faced with a sexual predator, they've heard a different side of the story than the one the predator's going to be telling them.
Right. I agree.
And then
Um,
obviously, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
obviously with the teenagers, they have a much different set of safety dangers, right? They're
Yeah.
not under the constant supervision of adults, so they have a lot of time to be independent. They're online. There's just so many places where predators have access to them, sexual abusers and traffickers, and we have to, again, arm these kids with information
Hmm.
and give them tools and we have self-defense rolled into a number of our programs and full force tactics practice. And even for the littles, even though we know that's not going to work every time with a little, it's very empowering for them. And again, it's very empowering for them to know that they have permission to do that, to try and get away if
Hmm.
somebody's trying to hurt them or take them. But with the teens, it's effective. We've had multiple times where we've heard back that teens were able to escape attempted sexual assaults, attempted violent attacks because of the training that they got from Revved Up Kids.
That's amazing because, like I said earlier, the internet has become such an advanced space, and it's just an empty pot of things that you can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have our youth or our kids that are finding themselves, like I said, I have a middle school, so that's kind of the space from like they're from age 11 to 14 where they're exploring. They're
Mm-hmm.
being exposed to so much. They've got older siblings that are saying things to them. They've
Yep.
got, siblings who have their friends who
Yep.
are saying things to them around them, and they are like, oh, let me Google what they're talking about, and then they go
Yep.
down this cesspool of stuff that they shouldn't even be thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You all have like
Yep.
another newer program, the Protected While Connected, that you are
Mm-hmm.
in the process of launching fully, and where you allowed us, some of my middle school students, to kind of be a little bit of guinea pigs for it. And getting their feedback has been very insightful, even for me. I've been doing a small group of sixth graders, seventh graders, and eighth graders. Each grade level kind of gives a different perspective, because our sixth graders are still kind of in that space, coming from being in elementary school, and then we have our eighth graders who are, you know, think they know everything and are beginning to go in and getting ready for that high school. And then you got your seventh graders that are still in that middle space.
Yep.
Um, and the different modules, the three modules that are within that program. Um, and each one has its own focus, one from being, focusing on your internet footprint, being guided when it comes to being on the internet, and then focusing on those internet predators and those traps when you're on the
Mm-hmm.
internet. I definitely will say the section about the predators and all of that got a little bit of a different, better, not better, but just a different reaction than the other two,
Mm.
because it was using the more direct, clear-cut language of, like, child pornography and sexting and all of that. And they were like, their eyes got big, like, what? And I had to kind of give them a quick warning, like, hey, this is what's being said. This is the language. Are you okay? Is everybody we good? But
Hmm.
like you said, these are conversations that need to happen because unfortunately we have to be kind of careful, even being in schools. We got to be careful not to just volunteer the information or just ask randomly without parent consent. But
Hmm.
then it's like, okay, we'll leave it up to the parents, but the parents aren't having the conversation because
Right.
they don't have a full understanding of this stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you kind of work through, or how have you all been kind of working through over the past couple of years, some of the more limitations now, trying to be, doing some work and trainings in schools now? How are you all kind of
Yeah.
working through that?
So one of our biggest hurdles is the fear by school administrators that they're going to have a parent coming into the office and screaming at them that
Mhm.
they taught this topic, right? By law in the state of Georgia, all schools are supposed to be teaching this topic. So
Mm,
whether the school administrators like it or not, it is supposed to be happening in all public schools. I also run into parents who are terrified of it. Or I had a conversation just about a week and a half ago with a mom whose daughter is 13 years old, and she thinks her daughter has never heard the word rape. And I I I think her daughter probably has, but she's like, "Oh no, no. I can't put her in a class where you would be talking about that and saying those words, and I no, she's too young." And I'm thinking, median age of a child sexual abuse victim is 8.
Mhm.
So we need to be having these conversations and getting comfortable with them way earlier than 13, right?
yeah.
And the other thing that we have found over the years is the school administration is way more afraid of it than the parents. Because when you
Mhm.
send the opt out letter to the parents and tell them what you're going to be doing, the parents are all in most of the
Yeah.
time. We get maybe a 3% opt out, but most parents welcome it because they have no idea how to talk about it with their kids. So they're excited that we're coming in to open that conversation and to give them some resources that'll help them continue talking about it.
I love that.
Yeah. The language is extremely important because I know some of these topics are quite uncomfortable even for adults, and some of it is from personal experience, others is because
Mhm.
they don't want to, they feel like they might be putting an experience on a child, or
Yep.
now I'm making them think about this. They weren't thinking about this before. So
Mhm.
it's very important to just be straightforward, use the proper language so that the kids know exactly what is being said,
Yeah.
exactly what is being talked about, so
Yeah.
that in the event that something does happen, they know exactly how to explain it in the verbiage that needs to be used.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And to add to that, I really believe that the easiest target for the predator is the child who has no idea that predators exist, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we have got to get comfortable with this. There
Yes.
are way too many kids, 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 13 boys, being sexually abused. And that
Mhm.
number is ridiculously high. And yet we're still afraid to talk to kids about this. So
Right.
I don't get it. And we need to
Mhm.
get over it, right? We need to
Yeah.
be super candid, super early that this is
Mhm.
happening so that we can protect these kids.
Yeah.
Mhm. Because
I
the
agree.
reality is it is happening. So
Yes.
we need
Mm-hmm.
to do
Mm-hmm.
something about it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
And it's interesting because even as for, Taylor and I and other SWAG members, we're school social workers. So we're even just as social workers in general, we're constantly having these type of uncomfortable conversations, even if
Right.
it's not just surrounding, predators and all that, we're having difficult conversations about the wellness of a child and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
our level of involvement for the wellness of the children, of the household with the parents, and you've got parents that are just trying to get by, just trying
Yep.
to do it, sometimes doing this on their own with several children in a small household. They're not thinking about educating their child on internet safety and watching out for predators. They're just trying to get to the get a meal
Yep.
on their plate, on the
Yep.
table.
Yep.
And like I said, we're constantly having these difficult conversations. So what has been your, you know, interactions or, connections with, say, just school officials or school social workers or school counselors when it comes to this particular topic of internet safety or watching out for
I
predators
think over the
or
course of the past couple of years, it is everybody's hot button in the schools.
mm,
The staff, the administration, they feel ill-equipped to deal with what they're having to deal with and what they're seeing the kids doing online. And they feel like the parents are not pulling their weight in terms of reining these kids in. You don't hand your child an iPhone when they're 9 years old. You just don't, but people do.
they do.
And I love that more and more schools are starting with the locking the phones up during the day. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing and fantastic and transformational if schools can be brave and actually follow through on it. And then you're going to have this contingent of parents that are going to be like, I need to be able to reach my child, right? Like, okay, you
Yeah.
dial the front office and we'll get your child, right? So I think, again, overwhelmingly, it seems to be the uh, biggest hot button
Hmm.
with within the schools right now is just all of this mayhem in the online activity. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
I agree.
yeah.
Especially with, especially even with just with school officials from admin, school social workers, counselors, we're often the first responders to these issues.
Hmm.
Even down to things of like school shootings and all of this stuff. And then there's so
Hmm.
much social, then the kids are consumed even with that. Even when things are not happening in their school, they're seeing it online. They're
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
it on their phones every day because that is
Yep.
the first thing they're checking.
Yep.
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, everything. They're consuming it so much. And
Hmm.
I don't think that, like I said, we often outsource all the time of, hey, we need this program to come in and do a 5 week lesson. We need
Hmm.
this program to come in and do a group or do some individual work. We're
Hmm.
always outsourcing, and that often is what shows to be the best way because we're not always equipped or we're not always educated on every single thing. So it's
Hmm.
amazing that your program or your organization is ready and available and has a variety of programs and services
Hmm.
for parents, the youth of all ages, from teens to, our small children, to for the teachers, for admin. It's an amazing thing that you have this program
Hmm.
available.
Hmm.
It
Um,
is.
yes.
Because it's like it gives parents it's like it's no excuse. Like, okay, I can't, you might not be able to talk about it, but there's a whole organization that will
Yeah.
do it for
Yeah.
you.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we'll
And
give you the tools.
if I
yeah,
can take a moment just outside of a school setting to, because I know that a lot of the social workers that are part of SWAG are also parents.
Mhm.
yeah,
So we work with private groups all over the 13 county metro area. We go to neighborhood clubhouses, scouts teams, clubs. Anywhere there's a group of kids, church youth groups, anywhere there's a group of kids, we're happy to come and work with that group to train the kids. And same thing with the parent sessions. It doesn't have to be a school setting for us to be able to provide
right.
the training. And to your point, Devin, this is all we do. So we are the experts, and this particular topic, the learning curve is enormous on this. So, just over the course of the past 10 years to see where we were then and where we are now, trigger warnings and trauma wasn't even on the radar 10 years ago.
Nope.
And
Mhm.
now every class we have starts with a trigger warning.
Mhm.
So we have evolved and will continue to evolve as understanding of this issue continues to evolve. And like I said, it's all that we do.
And speaking of evolving, what do you see in the future for Revved Up Kids and its efforts in, discussing internet safety and getting people trained? What do you see in the future for Revved Up Kids?
So we're really excited about the Protected While Connected that we're offering on the Nearpod platform.
Mhm.
I see us potentially, if that is successful, continuing to create more lessons using a format like that. Um, I still, the difficulty is I did a live parent session this past Saturday with about 20 parents in a room, and it was so good. Just the human interaction in a live setting is
Mhm.
so much more impactful than something on a recording or on Zoom, or we do our best, but
Mhm.
wow, it's hard for me to think about Revved Up Kids moving away from that. And if we want to scale, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to move away from that, and we're going to have to scale using technology. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but for now, I love just going and getting in front of groups of kids and training them and training parents, and
Please
it's good.
tell how a parent or a teacher or a scout member can sign up for a training session with you all.
So our website is probably the best starting point. It's revvedupkids.org, and that's two V's in Revved. You can actually see that. You can see that on my slide. So revvedupkids.org, and there's information about all the different programs we offer, and there's contact forms on there. There's a phone number, there's an email. That's probably the easiest way for anybody in this viewing audience to reach out to us about possibly scheduling training for a group.
Cool.
Absolutely. And there's also a place on the website where people can leave donations for you all as well, right?
Oh, yes. Taylor, thank you. We
Yes.
are a nonprofit. So our goal is to make it free for everybody. And I will tell you, we do fundraisers and write grants and ask people for donations to help us with that effort. The past 2 years, between 2/3 and 3/4 of our training has been offered at no charge to the groups.
That's
So
amazing.
we're still having to charge for some groups, but most groups are able to get the training at no charge to them. So yeah, donations are always welcome. If you want to put Revved Up Kids on your Christmas giving list, we would be so thrilled.
I was going to ask you all, if you have any upcoming events coming up for Revved Up Kids?
So for the people who are in the metro Atlanta area, the Festival of Trees is opening this Saturday at Gas South Arena in Duluth. And it's gazillions of Christmas trees and all kinds of fun activities for kids. And the Christmas trees are auctioned off. And Revved Up Kids has a tree at the festival. So
All
we're
right.
really excited about that. And then training wise, we've wrapped up all of our public trainings for 2024. We have different police partnerships across town where if you don't have a group, you can sign up for a training and go to a police station and get the training. And we'll be kicking those back in February of 25. So, and
Nice.
we have an events calendar on our website that has all of our events. We have a fantastic St. Patrick's Day casino party in March that's our biggest fundraiser of the year. And so we welcome people to come to that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Alli, thank you so much for joining us
Yes.
and providing so much more insight on the work that you're doing, the community work that you're doing, and just how impactful your program has been. And I hope to see more of it. I look forward to our partnership because like I said, my schools need it. All the schools need it, but my schools
Mm-hmm.
need it. So I look forward to seeing more of what you all are able to do and how more impactful you all can be, within our community.
Yes, thank you for the work that you do and for the lives that you have saved and for the lives that you are going to save because it
Thank
is
you.
very
I
appreciated.
appreciate that. And we know it's saving lives, and
Yes.
it's just really, really important training. So we hope that we'll be able to get it to every child needs it, which is
Yes.
every child, right?
Which is every
Yeah.
child. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you
So
so much for having me.
yes.
Thank you so much.
So make sure you all follow Revved Up Kids on all social media platforms at Revved Up Kids. Go to check out their website if you are trying to get Revved Up Kids into your schools or at your community organization, your churches, wherever you would like for it to be. Go to their website and sign up for their trainings. Allie, are they able to contact you? Do you have a personal contact information you want to provide?
So my direct email address would be admin and the number 2 at revvedupkids.org. So admin like ADMIN number 2 at revvedupkids.org.